Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I wanted to talk about causality and how there are two ways we can perceive or experience causality. One is through intellectual means, and another is through what a lot of religious people and what a lot of spiritual people assume that everything has the cause of everything is God. Now, we have to also assume a certain experience that happens when we assume that every experience that we experience is the effect of God. When we take this position and when we realize that everything is God's will, there is a certain freedom from action. There is a certain freedom from responsibility. And usually when a person is told to surrender in meditation, he feels this release of will, this release of individual will, this handover of individual will to God's will. And when he does this, when he hands over his own individual will to God's will, he surrenders and he feels liberated for a moment. He feels as if he doesn't have to be responsible for his or her actions or for his or her words. Nietzsche also famously used to say that there is really no free will. There is really no power of thinking a certain thought, and how everything is somehow related to a cause that we cannot really see. There are ups and downs of this way of thinking, and I have found by delving in both extremes, in extremes of having full power over this individual and surrendering power to God or an invisible force. When you are in both the extremes, and you certainly have probably experienced both the extremes. If you haven't experienced both the extremes, it is essential that you experience them, that you experience your own individual power, the power and the willpower that you have, and also the power to let go of your power. There is certainly a relaxation that you will feel, a certain liberation that you will feel when you surrender everything to God. When you surrender your words, your action, and you live a life of complete surrender to God. But there is also the work of God that is done through individual willpower. A lot of people, especially the ascetics of different spiritual traditions, the monks and the missionaries, the various ascetics, even non-spiritual practitioners, tend to fall into this trap where they are surrendering and constantly trying to achieve this state of surrender, as if they don't have to do anything, to they don't have to work, they don't have to do anything because everything is God's will. This belief and this this view of the world, when seeps into you and you start to look at the world as if everything is God's will, it certainly seems divine. It seems as if you don't really have to do anything. You are constantly in a state of peaceful blissfulness. You must also remember a sentence that Karl Marx has famously said that religion is the opium for the masses. There is a certain truth to this statement. Religion does give you that way, that that peaceful transcendence, that divinity, but it also obscures your view. It also takes away your individual power. A scientist or an atheist is more is more capable of utilizing his individual power, his power to will, his power to put effort into things than a religious person. Because a religious person has surrendered everything. He's tasting something that an alcoholic tastes. He's he's addicted to a method. But you must understand that the universe does not respond kindly to those who surrender, that God will do his work even through you. God will take away your peace if you are in if you are striving for this peace. God will take away this peace. The universe will want you to become what in Bhagavad Gita is called Rajasic in nature. Sometimes the universe will want you to become tamasic in nature sometimes. But a man who is intelligent, who understands both the extremes, will strive to be in the middle, because the middle path is the hardest path to walk upon. The middle path where everything is seen as indifferent, where even the ascetics are accepted for who they are, but it is also seen that their striving for this peace is useless, that they will need to come into this world, that the religious monks that we adore so much, that we think that they are great ascetics who have left the world, who have left their desires for higher desires. They are not really in peace. The momentary peace that they had felt in those deep moments of surrender is no longer resounding in them, because they have become too tamasic. They have become stagnant, and they crave for that peace again and again. Life is always wanting you to maintain a balance, to walk on a path that is a balanced path, to walk on a path where you are able to exert your will, you are able to exert your power upon yourself and upon your desires, even the desire to know God, even the desire to surrender. So remember, the people who are on this path of surrender, remember that you will eventually have to come back, that the honeymoon phase of surrender and blissful peacefulness will eventually subside, and you will eventually have to come back into the grips of will, because you will be given power, you will be given certain free will that you will need to be prepared enough to exert when it's needed. So the middle path has always been suggested by the intelligent sages. The people who promote asceticism are usually wrong. They are not wise enough to understand and live through these extremes, because even the ascetics, after years and years of living in the mountains and doing these ascetic acts, have come back to preach. They have come back with some of them with even more desires, some of them with even more desire to exert their will, to exert and have power over people. Now, these people who have left the world and come back, they will try to exert power and bring man into their control. And if you look at the history books, if you look at our prophets, or the people who we call prophets, the so called prophets, they have come back and exerted power. They have indoctrinated people. They have told that people need to do certain things in order to be close to God, that they are somehow greater to God because they are great ascetics, because they have left the world for the search of truth. But they are in the same trap as a man who seeks out power in money and wealth. The outer form has changed. The direction of the desire has changed. Now, the person does not worship the idol that is in a physical form. He worships the idol that is in their mental realm. So thank you for watching this video, and always remember that life is best when you are living it in a balanced manner.